Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about a blockwars recap of 2023. Every blockwars event that happened this year, we're going to be going over, or at least a summary of all of that. Also today is daily December, day number 15. The episode is a little bit late today as I was randomly dragged to a mall for about 5 or 6 hours by my parents consensually. Before anyone thinks I got kidnapped, I did not get kidnapped. I was just at a mall for a long time today. Okay, and my usual recording time happened to be right at the beginning, and I was, I had to go. So a little bit of a late episode today, but blockwars 2023 recap. A bunch happened this year for blockwars. Obviously, creator event was still very new at the start of the year. I think, yeah, we started with blockwars 3. So there was only 2 events prior to the entire year of events, and I must say, the event has developed quite a lot over time. I think especially recently, things have really picked up. Obviously, rookies was really big. Then for blockwars 9, things were like huge. So very curious to see how that will develop going into 2024. But regardless, for that we're getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves. Me, that is. So let's look back at what we've done so far for 2023, including a little bit of Origins, because as much as I would love to include the full length of Origins, I just am not caught up with Origins. I haven't really been paying attention. Also, this is supposed to be playing. Sorry, that was supposed to be playing the entire time. But yeah, there's only a couple Origins things that I remembered or I realized. Some of it includes me being on a team. That's included in the list. Anyways, I took notes yesterday. I went over this already before, but I recorded it incorrectly without audio. So going back. Here is the beginning statistic. I think there's 5 categories we'll be going over. Also, before we actually get into this, I do want to say that in my MCC 2023 recap, or Season 3 recap, it's the same thing. I was obviously relatively short in terms of info that I provided. Because I just did research based off of Reddit, and it was brought to my attention that I glossed over a couple of details that MCC spent a lot of, or rather Noxtrew spent a lot of time on this year, and I didn't really acknowledge it, and unintentionally I made it seem like MCC didn't accomplish anything this year, but they did a lot of internal changes and stuff like Ace Race and their new non-canon events. Obviously took a lot of effort and work, and, I will commend them for that. They did a really good job. It's just something that goes very easily underappreciated. So you guys who are active on the Reddit, who watch Mogul Mail, give the Noxtrew a little shout out, okay? I know that they'll really appreciate it. Give them a little, just try to think of every single thing that was changed for MCC this year and try to, appreciate what they did. Anyways, enough Noxtrew MCC talk, back to blockwars. We hosted 17 events in 2023. Now, we do catch about half of that as a freebie because Origins, it's not as much effort for us, except for Garf. Garf has to do a lot, but, not as much effort for the other staff to host the Origins. And I guess there's some people who have to change move whenever move's in rotation. But anyways, 17 events, 7 of them were regular main creator blockwars events, being blockwars 3 till blockwars 9. We had 2 spin-off events with Pride 2023 and Rookies. Spin-offs, for those of you who do not really pay attention to blockwars, are the same as non-canons in MCC. However, we gave it a different name to, make it unique. And then there was 8 Origins events. The only event from main that did not have a corresponding Origins was Rookies, because we didn't really know what to do for that, so we just kind of didn't host. We didn't host an Origins for the Rookies. We just couldn't be asked. Anyways, moving on. Players, I kind of scrolled a little too far. There was 128 unique streamers that played a blockwars event in 2023, excluding Origins. This is just main event. This is the part where I kind of forgot because I don't really know Origins, whatever. So yeah, 128 unique players played a blockwars event in 2023. If you do the math, there's 40 people in an event. We hosted 9 main events. That is 360 slots. half of those slots were filled by different people, and then I guess within that 1/3 was a lot of repeats. Because I know that we've had quite a lot of one-time players or very infrequent players. So, anyways, yeah, 128 unique streamers. 80 of them were newcomers this year. That doesn't include most of the people who were added for Block Wars 1. That doesn't include Block Wars 2. Just this year, 80 newcomers is kind of insane. Obviously, we do, you know, we were still actively developing our roster of players, so it makes sense that we have a good amount of newcomers, but 80 is quite a lot. Now, if you have been watching for or Block Wars for a while, you'll know that especially at the beginning of this year, we used to add like 10 newcomers regularly, like almost every single event, or at least around 10. And then half of those people maybe played the following event, or maybe less, so sometimes maybe more. We had a lot of people who obviously played very inconsistently, which is fine. But regardless, 80 newcomers, crazy. I think that number will be significantly lower in 2024, unless we were to do a viewer team season where we would have obviously 40 unique players. I don't think we're going to have 80 newcomers in main Block Wars, or probably maybe not even half of that. Depending on how we handle some of our events, we might get close. Anyways, most of the newcomers, or the event that had the most newcomers introduced in 2023 was rookies, which makes a lot of sense. Almost half of that roster was newcomers, 18 to be exact. And that is it for the players tab. Next up, I think, is winners. Yes. There's 37 unique winners in 2023. You might think, compared to the 128 players, that's low, but it isn't, because there's, you know, 5 people on a team, 9 events. That means there was 45 people that, or 45 wins gained in this year. 37 of them were unique players, so that means there's only 8 people who won twice this year, I think, or 3 times. If you, I think Cam-Man got 3. Anyways, there's only 8 overlapping wins, unless I did something wrong with my math, but I think it's accurate. Anyways, 30 of them were new winners. That's people who hadn't won in either Block Wars 1 or 2, or which just means in 2022. So, you know, there's 30 of the 37 people who won, of the unique winners, were people who hadn't won before this year. I guess that makes sense considering how many of those people probably joined this year. Anyways, we also gained 3 3-time winners, the only 3 3-time winners this year, being Akko, Cam-Man, and Greninja. Akko, I think, gained it in Block Wars Pride. Cam-Man, I think, got it in Cam and Stu got it at the same event because they were on the same team, which I think was Block Wars 8. So yeah, and then 0 wolfeei wins. I don't know how I've pulled this off, but after Block Wars 8, I am still the only player manager who is yet to get a win, and I'm the main player manager. So not sure how that works. Maybe I'm a W player manager for not putting myself on a freebie win team, perhaps. And before anyone thinks that's a shot at Scott, no, it's not. It's not. Okay, I'm convinced Scott doesn't give himself freebie wins. He just gives himself teams sometimes that are obviously strong. But so do I. I thought my Block Wars 9 team was really good. I was like, guys, can I finally give myself a strong team? And then boost for, you know, let's not get into it too much. But boost for 3rd fragged, which is crazy. So yeah, maybe 2024, I will finally get a main event win. Probably not. Then next up, games. This is the part where it might seem like I am going to be Block Wars biased compared to what I said for MCC, because obviously I didn't include a bunch of stuff. I will throw out a disclaimer and say that the reason it might look slightly biased here in terms of how detailed I go into what has changed for games is because I've now been made aware of what I should include. Anyways, starting off, boom, one brand new game this year. Okay, Order Up. It's the only brand new game. Some of you might say Blitz Hunt, but that's not brand new. Kind of. We'll get into that. But Order Up, pretty good, successful game. It's in the background here. I think it's really fun. It was, it filled a gap that Block Wars It did not have Filler 4, which was the sole team game, and I think it's, you know, it's fun. And there's a lot to expand upon. I think the custom recipes have already been quite nice, and there's still more to come. It was also 2 reworked games. This one is maybe a tier where some of you might say Extraction isn't a reworked game, it's less, and Blitz Hunt isn't a reworked game, it's more. Extraction I would consider reworked because in Block Wars 4, if I remember correctly, we changed the game from essentially being a Battle Box ripoff, which wasn't intentional by the way, but essentially being a Battle Box ripoff, to now having exclusively crossbows, and the map design being required to be much different because it's now exclusively crossbows, where it became a much more unique game and a much more beloved game as well, which I'm really proud of. I think Extraction it has turned out great. I think it's really fun. So I would consider that a rework, because if you compare how you used to, or I say you, how we used to make Extraction in like Block Wars 1, 2, or 3, compared to how we make Extraction now, the process is very different. So I would consider that a rework for sure. Blitz Hunt I consider a rework because it was Hunt existed previously, and the core gameplay of Blitz Hunt is still hunt. Like, you still hide or hunt in the one round that you hunt, but it's now been changed where instead of having one of your players hunt and then every team has one hunter, it's now your entire team hunts for one round, which I think is a lot more interesting, and you know, it brings more unique strategies to the table. Everyone has to hunt once. Nobody has to hunt twice if they don't want to. But yeah, I think Hunt is a rework or an overhaul, whatever you want to call it, not a brand new game. I should have clarified this a bit more in the order up thing, but you got what I mean. More new games to come next year, 2024. I'll say this now, there will be more new games. I shouldn't say too much because I don't want to overpromise, but I'm sure, well, I know, but you'll find out. You'll find out. There should be a new game somewhat soon, and a very exciting new game a little bit later. That's all I'll say. Then, next up, 3 significantly updated games: Race, Battle, and Party. Now, this one, significant is relative. Significantly updated means that the updates that the game received had a significant impact on the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the entire game was like flipped upside on its head, because then it would be a rework, if that makes any sense. Race, I say significantly updated because a lot of elements were added to Race, which made it obviously a lot closer to something like Ace Race, but a lot of stuff was added to Race, especially recently, that made the game a lot better. The maps can be made better now because there's so much more stuff to work with. Yeah, I think Race is a lot better now. So that's a significant update and a good update. Battle, is it significant? We'll see. The capture towers obviously function a lot differently from capture points, and they become a point of interest to fight over consistently. You can fight it while another team is fighting. The maps are designed slightly differently around it, etc. I would say it's a significant update. It's definitely not a rework though, but it's definitely something that has a significant impact on the game. And then Party, the significant update, for Party is flip games being introduced. For those who don't know, Splat Zones, which is the most recent new game. I can actually scroll down already for this. There you go. There's also 4 new party games introduced. Splat Zone is a flip game of Splat, which essentially means that it's a remix. If for you MCC viewers, that'll probably be the easiest comparison. I can promise you, by the way, that it was not inspired from MCC remixes. Actually, it was inspired by Echo Fighters from Smash Brothers, because initially that was going to be called Echo Games, and then I thought about it, and I was like, if you don't play Smash Bros, this will make absolutely 0 sense. So then we changed the name. A little lore drop for you guys. Anyways, yeah, we introduced flip games, which will be more relevant in the future, but now that there's only one flip game, you won't really notice much. But it allows us to, put a new coat of paint on a game that already exists. and that works for something like Splat, where we wanted to make a capture zone type of game for party, and we were like, well, we might as well use Splat, and it worked okay. It wasn't great, but there's a lot of improvements we can make on it in the future. Anyways, 4 new party games introduced, which also contributes to the significantly updated party game, or game in between brackets party, because 4 new mini games in a game that has 4 mini games in it is pretty significant update. I would say even 1 new party game would be a significant update, let alone 4. 3.5 if you, depending on how you consider Splat Zone. Anyways, Crossy Road, Photon, Line It Up. I'd say Crossy Road was mixed. It's definitely not a bad game. It's just very repetitive. Then Photon is great. Obviously the music does a lot of heavy lifting. Actually, no, I think Photon is still very fun to play, but the fact that the Photon music is so good does help a lot. And then Line It Up. I know Line It Up was also a mixed review. I think Line It Up is great. It's very unique for party. There's still a lot to improve upon, obviously, but I think the whole communication aspect of it is really fun. If you watched my team's VOD or my team's POV, you'll understand why I really like Line It Up, because it was really funny. It was very funny, and that's all I care about. And then Splat Zone went okay. Then there's also 1 game vaulted this year, which is Sky Zone. If you haven't noticed already, Sky Zone hasn't appeared since either Pride or Blockwars 7. Either one of those. It wasn't in Rookies, it wasn't in Blockwars 8, and it wasn't in Blockwars 9 either. I don't expect it to come back for probably the rest of 2024 at least, but we'll see. Sorry for all you Sky Zone enjoyers, but it's not coming back. I'm sorry, but not right now. It's not like permanently deleted yet, but it's not coming back soon. So, don't get your hopes up for Sky Zone. But you know what that could mean though for something else potentially, maybe. Anyways, let's continue. There's also 1 party game vaulted, which is Fire Feet, which makes sense if you've looked at recent updates for Blockwars. You'll notice that Spleef has a TNT run round. If you didn't know already, Fire Feet is just TNT run essentially. Spleef has a Spleef TNT run round now, which essentially is Fire Feet, and we wouldn't really include Fire Feet into party if it's already in Spleef. And it kind of works pretty well in Spleef, honestly. It was pretty fun. So, I don't know. That's the games, and then there's notable moments. This is the final part of the notes that I took, because I had this, I kind of forgot about this. I had this written down in the MCC one, and I thought there's some notable moments for Blockwars, mostly based on the teams that participated this year, which you might argue that doesn't count. I definitely say it counts. If Etho and MCC counts, this definitely is going to count. For Blockwars, some of this is insane. So let's begin. First, Tubbo leak. If you didn't know already, if you're a very new Blockwars viewer, before Tubbo was added to the event, before Tubbo was publicly announced to be in the event, he showed his Discord, and in his Discord server list was Blockwars. Yep, he leaked that he was in the event. I think that was this year, or it might have been at the end of 2022, but it's relevant because Toby joined in Blockwars 3, which is the first event of this year. He was on red because people already knew he was going to be in, so it wasn't like a big super surprise. People already knew, but it's still cool. It was great that Toby joined. He was definitely the biggest ad, I think, in early Blockwars. Actually, no, Small Ant was before Toby. Small Ant was a pretty big ad. Anyways, moving on. Also, at the start of this year in Blockwars 3 was the JRWI team, which, if you don't know, is the Slimesicle team with Misty, etc., which was wild. The 3rd creator event for Blockwars had Slimesicle in it, which was kind of insane, obviously, at the time. Charlie's a huge, entity on the internet. He didn't end up streaming, which was totally fine at the time, but yeah, huge moment for Blockwars. People were very shocked, and I still have to thank Misty for making that happen. Anyways, moving on. Dong Fortnite also should get an honorable mention for Blockwars 3. He's Dong Fortnite, it was a pretty notable moment, I would say, that he was in there. It was his first and last main event, at least as far as we're aware. So, there you go. Also, there was great start of the year, by the way, Block Wars 3. Already 4 notable moments. They're minor notable moments, but Harvey newcomer in-game announcement refers to when Harvey was supposed to be a newcomer for the event and then slept through, so we had to sub him out, I think, relatively last minute. But he still was added. He was still in the newcomer announcement that happens in game at the start of the event, and then everyone laughed because he wasn't there. Then next up, Block Wars 4 Pink, which was a team of Abe. This is Abe and Pete's first event on a team with Sleepy, 5UP, and Fur, which is a great, just a fantastic team. That was like some S+ tier team making from the team of me, Misty, and Shane. I don't actually remember who was most responsible for that. I think it was me and Misty, but I'm not sure. I was responsible for the invites at least, but that doesn't really matter. Anyways, great team, a very big highlight. It was a great follow-up on Block Wars 3 as well. I remember people were going insane about that team, and I think it ended up getting third, which is really cool. It just worked so well. It was such a great team. Block Wars 5 had the Red Speedrunner team, which introduced, I think, Feinberg and Wurchel to the event at the same time on the same team, together with Smolent, Curryway, and Fur as well. Fur just getting a back-to-back crazy team. Anyways, that team did really well, obviously, because they're all speedrunners. But it was really cool, and getting someone like Wurchel in this early was also kind of a surprise to a lot of people. But it was nice, and you know, they had a good time. So, you know, run it back. Maybe not the full team. I don't think Curry and Feinberg are ever going to be allowed on the same team again, unless I can think of a way to do it. But anyways, moving on. Block Wars 6 Pink is next. If you don't know, if you weren't there for Block Wars 6 Pink, you might not understand how significant this was for Block Wars. This is such a huge moment. Block Wars 6 Pink, if you don't know already, was 5UP, Sleepy, Saikuno, Masayoshi, and It's Timmy. Considering we were in Block Wars 6, that is insane. I don't know how we kept pulling this off, but almost every single event, back to back to back, we had at least one team that was so insane that people were just like, how did you guys even pull this off? Like, I don't know, man. Bless up the players, or me, or Misty, for the most part. Yes. So, and nowadays Anthos as well. But anyways, moving on. Oh, there was also the other end of the stick. Block Wars 6 Teal substitutes. If you didn't know, 3 people were subbed in and out at the same time for Block Wars 6 Teal team. I think either the day before or the day of the event. I think the people that subbed out were Ghosty, Captain Puffy, and Shane. And in their place came Becky, Oppo, and King Samalot, I think, so something like that. And they did insane because that team is insane. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Block Wars 7 Spanish team. Yet again, we just kept going. We kept going. Okay, in terms of like, oh my god, like first event we just had, you know, that was like the baseline. People were like, didn't know what to expect. We had some pretty cool people in there, like Captain Sparkles. Then Block Wars 2, Small Ant. Everyone was like, holy crap, how did you guys get Smollett in your second Minecraft event? I don't know, man. Shout out Misty. Then, next event, we got Slimesicle. Shout out Misty again. Next event, we got Abe and Pete. Shout out me. Then the Speedrunner team. Shout out me and Misty. Misty for Wurchel. Then we got the Pink team in Block Wars 6. Shout out 5UP for that one. Then the Spanish team. Shout out Anthos for that one. And me at the same time. I think I spoke to Shadun about that. Then moving on, rookies. Shout out Anthos and 5UP and Misty and me. That's it. I think. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. No, because Shane wasn't involved in that event. Either way, rookies, huge moment for Block Wars. Opened the door up for a lot of potential people to be in the event. Very much set it apart from just being an MCC clone type of event, where us having a roster like that proves like, hey, they're not trying to copy the MCC roster. Surprise! what if coincidentally we were not trying to copy MCC? Wouldn't that be absolutely crazy and insane? Anyways, moving on. Yeah, rookies was huge. It also ties into the next point. Joe Bartolozzi was a pretty crazy appearance to a lot of people in rookies, and then in Block Wars 8, and then in Block Wars 9. I'm very glad to have Joe around though. He's been a great addition to the roster. He's been very nice to everyone he's teamed with. I think he's been a very unique player as well, and I'm very excited to have him around for hopefully a long time. That would be quite nice. We enjoy having Joe in, and Joe enjoys playing, so it's a win-win. Moving on, we have I guess the Block Wars 8 cycle. Block Wars Origins 24, Shadow Wizard Money Gang. That was my team for Origins. If you didn't know already, I wasn't in the main event for that cycle for Block Wars 8. But I was in Origins, and our team ended up getting, I think, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th individual, or 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th individual. I think it was 7, 8, 9, 10, which is kind of, not even kind of, that's insane. 4 people top 10, all right next to each other. Like, how? I don't even know, man. And then I think finally we have Block Wars 9 Pink, which in the background you see it now was Jojo, Jack, Scott, Joel, and Lizzie, which was a crazy. Like, I was shocked when I heard that was going to be a team. I was like, oh, okay, no, that's, yep, thumbs up, yep, sure, sounds good to me. Shout out Jack for that one, Javik, that is. So yeah, that was a pretty notable moment, and that leaves us to that is it. That leaves us to modern day and age Block Wars right now, 2024. What is there to come? It was nice reflecting on pretty much all the success that we've had so far for Block Wars. Obviously, there's been moments in Block Wars' history, especially this year, that weren't as good, but they are not worth mentioning for a recap. You know, we can skip over the fact that at the beginning of the year we were getting 5 substitutions every single event, and that sure wasn't that great to deal with, but things are looking bright now. Okay, we got to just keep pushing. I've been yapping for 27 minutes. That shows that I'm passionate about what I do. Anyways, this was Daily December, day number 15. I am excited for Block Wars 2024. We have some stuff in the works. We have some talks in the talks. We have some stuff lined up. We have some plans planned. You'll see. I think you're gonna have a treat. Let's say quarter 1 and 2 of 2024. I think you'll probably be like, oh my god, these guys at Block Wars, they just love us so much, man. They just keep giving us what we ask for. You just gotta get what you want, man. Like, it is what it is. It's just only wins that we take here. Hopefully, I should not jinx myself. Anyways, thank you for watching. That'll be it. 28 minutes of recording. Crazy. Anyways, see you tomorrow again. Okay, bye.